creature who has an insatiable love for the dead.
I kick ass for the Lord.
Your move, creep.
You want to get nuts? Come on. Let's get nuts.
Welcome back to the Undead Basement, everyone. It's JD here. Tales from the Crypt is without a doubt my favorite horror anthology series. Based on the classic EC comics from the 40s and 50s, this show had a little something for every horror fan. Monsters, slashers, blood, gore, witches, ghosts, and of course, lots and lots of bare breasts. At the peak of the show's popularity on HBO in the mid-90s, a trilogy of movies was planned, with each telling an original story, all bookended by the Crypt Keeper. Sadly, however, only 2 of these movies were officially made, with an unofficial third movie being made called Ritual, a second movie being called Bordello of Blood. Neither of these movies you need to see, and of course, today's subject, the awesome Demon Night.
I wanted lots of suspense. Special effects. Sex. Violence. The kind of thing you could really sink your teeth into. Frights. Camera. Hack-tion.
Directed by Ernest Dickerson, who also directed Surviving the Game and Juice, and starring nearly every character actor under the effing sun, including William Sadler from Bill and Ted, Billy Zane from Titanic, CCH Pounder, Jada Pinkett Smith, Dick Miller, Brenda Bakke, Thomas Hayden Church, and Charles Fleischer, the voice of Roger Goddamn Rabbit, this movie perfectly encapsulates everything that made the show great. The story of the movie is about our titular hero being chased by a demonic being known only as the Collector for an ancient key canteen-like thing, it's never really explained what it is, that holds the blood of Christ, presumably, so he can bring the world back to darkness. And their chase leads them to an old hotel/brothel out in the desert, where our hero has to survive the night with a group of people who come from different backgrounds. Like the show, the movie does a great job at emulating the old EC horror comics' look and feel. Everything from the set design to the lighting and camera angles give it a great comic book-like atmosphere. Not to mention this movie's soundtrack, which features bands like Pantera, Megadeth, The Melvins, Ministry, and Filter, which roots the classic comic book atmosphere with a touch of the 90s. Speaking of 90s, this movie practically features an entire cast of nothing but popular 90s character actors from B-movies. All that's missing is Bruce Campbell and Malcolm McDowell, and you pretty much have an entire horror convention rolled into one movie. Each actor gives their character a surprising amount of personality. William Sadler makes for a great hero, Jada Pinkett is quite likable, CCH Pounder takes no shit from anyone, Thomas Hayden Church makes for a good douchebag, and of course the big show stealer is Billy Zane, who comes off like a cross between Jim Carrey and the goddamn devil. Another thing of note is the effects. While not a super gory movie, this movie knows how and where to use gore. People get eaten, limbs are ripped off, fists go completely through skulls, and a good amount of slime and goo is thrown in. The weakest effect is probably the beams that shoot out of the demons when they get shot in their weak spot, their eyes. It might be because of the time or budget maybe, but it comes off as a little photoshoppy even for the time. Now, if that brief synopsis I gave doesn't remind you of another certain 90s cult classic where a great cast gets locked into a secluded building out in the desert where they have to survive the night against a horde of monsters, well then you'd be wrong, because this movie predates From Dusk Till Dawn by about a year. In fact, the script had been floating around for a few years before then. Actually, fun fact, From Dusk Till Dawn was originally supposed to be released under the Tales from the Crypt banner as a follow-up to Demon Night, which is almost like following up the original Star Wars with The Force Awakens. But for some stupid reason, they decided to go with Bordello of Blood anyways. However, despite some similarities to a better movie, Demon Night is a fun horror comedy romp in its own right. Its atmosphere, cast, humor, horror, and action all have that Tales from the Crypt charm and feel. Just boosted up for the big screen, it's definitely a must-see if you're a fan of the TV show. Now, if you're looking to check this movie out, I definitely recommend getting this Shout Factory Blu-ray release of this movie. It's packed with features, and it's got great picture and sound quality, and the price is pretty good on Amazon. I'd end this with a Crypt Keeper pun, but I can't think of anything. If you can, put one in the comments below. That is all the time we have for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram. I'm JD, and I will see you next time, boys and ghouls.